Hi guys, it's Kasha. Welcome to the channel. It is coffee time and today I'm here to talk to you about all the book releases for March. Well, obviously not all of them because then this video will be endless, but I have put together some books that I think are interesting or some that I am specifically myself really interested in reading, and so let's go through them.
It's coffee time!
On the 1st of March, we have The Fever King. This is a YA fantasy by Victoria Lee, and I love that this is a YA fantasy that also includes LGBT. And this is going to be book 1 in the Fever Wake series. In the former USA, a 16-year-old wakes up in a hospital bed and he realizes he's the sole survivor of a magical virus that killed a lot of people, including his family. Also, he realizes that he has a very special power. He is a technopath, which means that he is able to control technology. And that makes him very interesting for the Minister of Defense. He is the son of undocumented immigrants, so he does not really want to help the government, but he realizes that the best thing he can do is join them or pretend that he's joining them so that he can learn more about his powers and then fight against them. On the 5th of March, we have You Asked for Perfect by Laura Silverman, and this is a YA contemporary LGBT. We follow here the story of a senior student, and he has great grades, he's a volunteer, he's a violinist, and he makes people believe that all of this success is effortless until he fails a calculus test. He just focuses so much on studying that he cancels plans with his friends, and he realizes at some point that he needs a tutor. And his tutor, well, let's say they never used to get along, and now they realize that they might like each other more than they thought. Also on the 5th of March, we have Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds, and this is a YA romance contemporary. So Jack meets Kate at a party and everything is going great, and they start a relationship, and they get to meet each other's friends and everything is going just perfect. But then Kate dies, and this story should end here, but Kate's death sends Jack back to the beginning, to when they first met, and Jack doesn't know if he's losing his mind or what's going on, but all he knows is that he's going to try to do everything to save Kate. However, every action has consequences. Also on the 5th, we have Barely Missing Everything by Matt Mendes, and this is a YA debut novel. Juan has planned all his life to go out of Texas on a basketball scholarship. He wants to make a better life for himself. His best friend JD plans to be a filmmaker. Fabi doesn't have a plan anymore because she got pregnant at 16 and she has been by now waitressing for 17 years. But things tend to never go as planned. Juan sprinkles his ankle, so bye-bye basketball scholarship. And also JD discovers that his mom had been lying to him all this time and his dad is not who he thought it was. So it's going to be, I think, a really cool, interesting contemporary story, and I'm really excited to read this debut novel. Also on the 5th, we have Ancestral Bear, and this is going to be the first book on an adult sci-fi. The series is going to be called White Space by Elizabeth Bear. So we're following these two pilots that, they go in a ship through space and are trying to find like lost remains of a human species. And what they discover is actually something bigger. They discover that there is another alien race out there. And it is an alien species that they thought had disappeared. So the question is, are they going to start a war now? Also on the 5th, we have Daisy Jones and the Six, a novel by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and it is going to be an adult historical fiction. After the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo that took booktube by storm, I'm pretty sure that everybody's going to be extremely excited about this release. This is a story based on the band from the 70s and on the story particularly of their beautiful singer. And it's going to be revealing the mysteries of their breakup. Also on the 5th, we have The Queen's Resistance, which is going to be the follow-up to The Queen's Rising, a YA fantasy by Rebecca Ross. I have to admit, I have the first book, Queen's Rising, but I have not read it. So now actually it would be a good point to pick it up so that I can read the second book as well. It was actually her debut novel, and we're kind of like an epic Renaissance fantasy. We live in a world where most people is born to develop one of 5 talents: art, music, dramatics, wit, and knowledge. Once you develop a passion, you get chosen by a patron. Brianna wants to develop a passion, but time's ticking and she's starting to get a little bit scared, so she decides instead of letting the passion choose her, she just decides to choose one. So she chooses knowledge, but still she gets no patron, and a little bit later there is this disgraced lord that offers to be her patron, and it sounds so intriguing. That's what I got the book, but I never got to read the first one, and now the second one is already out. So we will see if I can fit it in these years to BR. There are 4 books that are going to be released on the 12th of March, so let's take a look at those. First we have When the Sky Fell on Splendor, and this is one of my most anticipated releases for this month. It is by Emily Henry, and this is a YA science fiction, and I'm going to be reading these for the Buzzword Readathon that is going to take place in March. This is going to be the group book for that readathon, so if you're interested, you can pick this one up. A local steel mine explodes in Splendor, Ohio, and basically most of the people in town are affected by this, and our main character also gets affected because her brother is on a coma. 17-year-old Franny found comfort in a group of people, a group of friends that were going through the same thing that she was going through. The group starts calling themselves the Ordinary, and they're kind of trying to investigate all of the weird things and supernatural stuff that starts to happen until they find something real, a bright light that comes from the sky, and as it looks from the cover, it seems like it's about aliens. So really intrigued about this one, definitely going to be reading it on March, so I'm super excited. Then we have The Awakening Forest by Eliza West, or Weiss, I'm sorry. And this one is going to be a YA fantasy. We follow the story of 2 characters. We have Rhea, a girl, and then we have a witch that lives in the forest, and the story is about how their paths meet. So Rhea saw one day this mirage of a dark forest, and when she tried to touch it, it disappeared. And then one day when she went back to the same spot, she met this boy and promised to take her to the forest if she agreed to play a game. And the witch lives in the forest, and she waits there for children to go there to beg her to grant their wishes. Sounds really intriguing and a little bit dark, and I like it. Then we have Beware the Night by Jessica Fleck, and this is a YA fantasy. We are in the island of Bellona, and here everybody worships the sun. 17-year-old Veda knows that we need to keep the sun happy so that we will have good produce, good weather. You know, if the sun's happy, everybody's happy. There are different classes, like social classes, and Veda happens to belong to one of the poorest ones. And one day, her grandpa is chosen to be the tribute to the sun to keep him happy. So it's probably gonna bring in conflict what Veda has been raised to believe, and you know, her will to fight probably for her grandpa's life. The last one that's coming out on the 12th of March is another sequel to a book that I have yet to read, but it is on my 2019 TBR, and that is the sequel to Want by Cindy Pond. The second one is going to be called Ruse. This is a YA science fiction, and what I loved about the story was obviously that it was science fiction and that we're living in a world where rich people can buy themselves longer lives. They basically can buy this suit that protects you from illness and death, and so you get to be, you know, to live way longer. So it is a futuristic society in which being rich basically buys you longer lives. On the 19th of March, we have Sherwood by Margaret Spooner, and this is going to be a YA fantasy retelling. This is a Robin Hood retelling in which our main character is a girl, and she finds herself following Robin Hood's footsteps. The town needs a protector, and she's ready to step in. ¿Qué pasa? My cat is crying. I don't know what's going on. I think he just wants some cuddles. On the 21st of March, there is this adult mystery thriller, which is going to be part of a longer series. And, you know, I was interested in it because I'm always looking for good thrillers, so I thought I would mention it here as well. It's going to be part of Jonah Sheen's series, which I'm guessing it's the name of our detective. And the book is called She Lies in Wait, and this is going to be the first book in the series. July 1983, 6 friends, 1 killer, and who do you trust? 6 friends go camping, and apparently only 5 of them come back, and 30 years later, our main character, our detective, finds the body of, you know, who they already suspected they were going to find, which is the missing girl. Aurora Jackson was the girl that went camping with her friends 30 years ago but never came back. All of the friends claimed to be innocent, but they found her in a spot where only the friends knew where it was. So who's lying? So this is gonna be also one of us is lying. I'm interested in this kind of stuff. So it is going to be, like I said, an adult mystery thriller, but I really want to check this one out. And the last releases that I want to talk to you about are 3 releases that are going to go out on the 26th of March. We have the beginning of a YA fantasy, and the first book is going to be called Once and Future, and the whole series is also going to be called like this, and it is by Corey McCarthy and Amy Rose. This is a retelling of King Arthur, and the sword in this case is being pulled by a girl, and you know, we all like this kind of like gender change in this kind of retellings. So she's revealed to be the reincarnation from King Arthur, and then she also gets to meet Merlin. So Merlin has basically aged backwards, and now he is a teenager, and together they must break the curse that keeps Arthur coming back. Then I want to talk to you about The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James, and I love the idea of this book because this is a middle grade contemporary that includes LGBT, and it is by Ashley Herring Blake. We follow a 12-year-old girl that just had to go through heart surgery. So in order to celebrate it, she wants to do all the things that she couldn't do before. Like, if this is not already the cutest thing you've ever heard, I don't know. So she wants to spend time with her friends. She wants to kiss a boy for the first time. All goes perfect according to plan. She makes a new friend, and she's called Quinn. And then she realizes that she actually wants to kiss her and not a boy. I just love everything about this book. I love that they're bringing the LGBT community into a middle grade book. Sounds fantastic, and I want to check it out. And the last one is one that I'm super excited about, and it is a YA fantasy called The Beast Player. And it is by the Japanese author Naoko Uehashi. I love that this is an epic YA fantasy based in Japan, and it is about this girl that can talk to beasts. He can talk to these creatures, and she's the only one that can save the kingdom. And I don't know, the cover, it's just beautiful, and I just love everything about this book because I love Japanese culture, and I'm super intrigued to see what they did with this one. So these were some of the March releases coming at you. Most of them are YA. I have 1 middle grade and I think a couple of adult books, but this is everything that, you know, I kind of would like to read. It's always so hard to decide which ones to read because there are so many books always coming out that sound so interesting. I hope that you found some on this list that you didn't know about that maybe you would like to check out. Let me know down below if you're most interested about any of these books, or if you maybe got an arc of any of them and you've already read it. Let me know down below what you thought about it. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Give the video a thumbs up for support, subscribe to the channel. All my social media is also listed for you guys down below, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!